This episode is going to be more of a personal story. We just had a very dramatic couple of weeks. It got quite serious for a moment there, but we've been very lucky. Those of you who have been watching us for some time will know that the intro of the video and the colour of the video determines the style and the content of that video. And let's be frank, I think it's pretty obvious what the content of this video is going to be about. So let's kickstart a new video genre for the channel. So let's jump back in time. Me and Helen have been trying for a baby for at least 3 years with no success. So we decided to get tested. And being tested is definitely worse for a woman than it is a man. But let's just clarify one thing for the men. This will possibly be one of the most awkward Tommy Tanks you will ever have. Especially if you're the only man sitting in the waiting room and everybody that's there knows what you're there to do. But anyway, after the walk of shame, delivering the sample pot to reception, and Helen having her test done, it turned out that there wasn't a problem with either of us. And a few months later, the doctors advised to go down the IVF route, and it was looking like this was the only option that we had. Now, IVF costs like £5,000 a go, and they recommend at least 3 attempts, and there's still no guarantee that there's going to be any success. Now, with that in mind, and also the fact that we are planning to get married and we want to start our homestead, this really just wasn't an option. So we decided that we would spend our lives just looking after even more animals.
Party on, dudes!
But this is when the magic happened. Christmas 2020, we passed our first trimester, and we were able to announce to close friends and family that Helen was pregnant. And here's a clip of us announcing it to fellow Hellsteeds at Christmas time over a Zoom call. So you guys got your babies out, we've got ours.
What?
A few months later, I then announced it on the YouTube channel. What are we incubating? That's not a bird, and that's not a tortoise. Many of you have probably guessed it. Yes, we are having a baby. The 22nd of February, and we've just had an 18-week cervix scan, and they told us they could tell the sex, and they wrote it down for us. So what you're about to see is the sex before we have found out ourselves, because we don't know yet. We've not looked at this piece of paper, and we're about to find out. So Helen's going to open up the piece of paper now in front of the camera, and we shall see.
What if I see it before?
It's in a sealed envelope.
Is it
They've
sealed? Yeah.
even sealed the envelope.
Because Fraser's not allowed in with me with my cervix scans, so she was like, do you want to find out what the sex of the baby is? And I was like, oh yeah, of course, we'd love to know. I said, but you can't find that out until your 20-week scan. And she said, well, I could tell you what it is now. I was like, oh my God. So she wrote it down because I said that I obviously wanted Fraser to be there. I don't know which way to open it because it's folded up. Do you reckon she's...
I don't know.
Right, okay. I think it's in half like that. So.
Okay, face towards the camera then.
You better see it.
Yeah, I should be able to see. I can't tell what it is yet. It's a boy. It's a boy. Congratulations, it says. So we actually had a number of people place bets as to what it was going to be, and they said it was going to be a boy. Most people said, in fact, only about three people said it was going to be a girl.
Oh my
So unanimously, it is a boy. And at this point, we then start creating a nursery in our house. Every house and every garden has this one place where you dump all of your rubbish and all of your dirt to make the rest of the place look tidy. And ours is in this room here. We've sounded a bit spooky. Through convenience, we've been just chucking all of our bits and bobs in this one room. There's still a few things left in there, but this is one of our spare rooms to the house. It's not very big. In fact, it looks like heaven at the moment. And we're about to start redecorating in here. We got blue walls. Stripping the wallpaper, tearing up the carpets, boxing in pipework, moving plug sockets, you name it, we did it. And come the end of June, we were feeling very prepared. July 9th, just a routine midwife appointment, which ended up with Helen being admitted to hospital for high blood pressure. Now, our due date wasn't until the 24th of July, which ironically is actually today, the day that I'm filming this video. We were told that new mums don't generally give birth early, so we weren't anticipating an early arrival, and Helen was also anticipating going to her best friend's wedding the following day. Sadly, this couldn't be the case, as they decided that Helen would be induced. And due to stupid, contradictory COVID rules, I wasn't allowed to visit more than 2 hours per day. It makes sense, right? The person that has high blood pressure can only see her partner for 2 hours a day, can't go to her best friend's wedding, and is also on a ward with newborn babies, crying all night, emotional mothers. Plus, she had a blood pressure monitor on her arm going off every 15 minutes and someone coming in to check on her. So she wasn't getting any sleep whatsoever. The poor girl was utterly shattered come Sunday, and she hadn't even gone into labour yet. So it's the early hours of the 12th of July, and I get a phone call saying they can't find the baby's heartbeat, get to hospital straight away. Can you imagine being asleep and waking up to a phone call like that? Just before I set off, I got another phone call, and it was Helen saying they found the heartbeat and she's now in the delivery suite. So my impression at this point is that we're still going to have a natural birth and Helen is going to go into labour. So I thought, I got some spare time. So I actually went back into the house, topped up the animal's feed, packed some extra clothes. I even set up the camera in the car to film my journey to the hospital. But little did I know, the clock was racing against me, and whilst they could find baby's heart rate, it was actually dipping every time Helen was having a contraction. Helen was still having an emergency C-section, and can you believe it, I even had issues with the car. The car is not working properly. I don't know what just happened then, but the car just wasn't just wasn't accelerating, it was like in limp mode. When I arrived at the hospital, I was greeted by a rushed midwife straight into the delivery suite, threw a load of gowns at me. A few seconds later, I'm in the operating theatre. Helen is already on the table, they're already operating on her. I sit down, try and comfort her. Literally, a few minutes later, there's a baby boy.
You giving us a heart attack already, and you're like not old at all.
Does it help, does it, to rub?
Yeah, it does.
Give you a little head rub.
You look better now.
Well, don't pull that face, it's alright.
Thank you, it's fine. Yeah, this is the better last color.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing earlier. Excellent.
I had about 3 minutes to spare, if that. I even got lucky enough to cut the cord, which is something that not all men get to do when it comes to C-section. Those are moments that I'll never forget. So breakfast has arrived and we've done this. Keeping warm whilst Helen can sit up and eat. Now I can't film Helen because she's got titty boomers out. Tiggy tiggy. Serious face.
Serious face. Judging you.
A bad attempt at a swaddle, but it's worked. The following day, Helen and our newborn child were given the green light to leave the hospital and return home. I'm recording this clip 2 weeks into the future following the events that transpired on the 14th of July. And we've been questioning how much to share about the events that unfolded that day. We should have been enjoying the experience of bringing our newborn child home with us, and instead I was calling 999 and nearly became a single parent. I mentioned about the high blood pressure during the pregnancy, and when we got home it skyrocketed, so much so that it opened a C-section wound and she lost a dangerous amount of blood. Helen ended up back in hospital for a further 4 days under close surveillance with a 24-hour nurse. This was a serious couple of days for us. I don't have any parental experience, and yet I found myself alone with a newborn child, worried sick about my partner, and you can only imagine how Helen felt during all of this. The birth had been pretty shit, to say the least, and she was desperate to get out, and she was finally home in a safe place. So to then go back into hospital again and leave her newborn child and her partner and go back to that place which wasn't helping with the blood pressure, it's just terrible. I don't know what to say about that, but shit, it wasn't good. So this is going to conclude our time travelling video going back over the events of our birthing story. And I appreciate it's a little unusual coming from the dad's perspective. Helen has just been through so much lately, and it's still something we're having to deal with. But we also wanted to document it whilst it was fresh, and most importantly for us, we wanted to make a video for our newborn son to look back on. So despite all the drama and the events that have transpired, I would like to end this video on a positive note. So I feel like it's only right to introduce you to someone. So here he is, the star of the show, Franklin Taylor White. Smile! No, he's sucking on my face. Ah, look at him. The piranha. Ah. It's got my nose. It's got my ear. Hi there.